The evolving thaw will have some complications, but nothing we can't handle. I'm meteorologist Don Paul. Welcome to my podcast, Don Paul's Bits o' Blather on weather, climate, and occasionally some humor. And you'd be hard pressed to tell on a Monday that the thaw has begun. Hasn't really, but it's getting started. A brisk southwest wind across the eastern Great Lakes, though, and in Buffalo is going to make it feel colder. So there's still a wind chill to contend with on this Monday. Now, the outer marker for the real warming that's coming will arrive by Tuesday morning with some widespread snow moving in. And this snow will be non lake effect. It will be what we call synoptic, widespread, but it won't be a big deal. It is going to be enough to make some slick spots on the roads by mid and late morning on Tuesday. The start to the morning commute probably not really impacted. We're talking about a snow accumulation range of 2 to 3 inches, maybe as little as 1 inch in some places. And in the distant southern tier of Western New York near the PA line, there could be some freezing rain for a few hours, which would complicate your travel with the slipperiest of all the elements. But it will all be mixing in with rain, what's left of it, Tuesday night. And by Wednesday, a new batch of rain will be arriving. No snow mixed in. Southwest to northeast spread of the rain Wednesday afternoon, and temperatures take a jump to Meltsville, low to mid 40s, and that's going to combine with the rainfall, really step up the rate of runoff, although this huge snowpack over much of the area will absorb a lot of the rain initially. Some locally good news, we don't have any major ice jams in place on streams and creeks, so that does mitigate but not eliminate the flood threat. Looks like some more rain showers around on Thursday with temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, so a whole lot of melting going on. Some great ski conditions to start the week. The bases on the ski slopes will survive this thaw and the rain, but don't look for any fresh powder after the next day or so. That's going to be gone for the foreseeable future. Looks like only a few leftover showers on Friday, and temperatures cooling to the upper 30s on Saturday, the mid 30s on Sunday and Monday. A lot of clouds around, but not much else going on. That'll slow the rate of melt. But on the other hand, if we were to jump into, say, the 50s, we'd be dealing with lots more runoff, and that would have exacerbated the flood threat. In the longer term, the polar vortex stretching to the south last week was one of the rudimentary causes of the brutal weather outbreak across much of the country and the lake effect storms on the Niagara frontier of Western New York. That lobe of the polar vortex is in retreat to the north, and with it will go the polar air it allowed to drop so far south. Got all the way to Texas for a while last week. And in fact, it's going to allow more Pacific moderated air to dominate the lower 48. We will have weak cold fronts going by, and yes, it can still be cool during this period, but polar air will have no entrance pathway into the lower 48 for at least the next 2 weeks. That's a pretty high confidence forecast, not the day to day precipitation. You still could get some snow like we're getting tomorrow. But there will be days with some rain and no temperatures approaching that zero mark anywhere in the lower 48 after midweek this week into the first week of February. With the polar vortex so far north, the polar air goes with it so far north of Hudson Bay. And we've also had blocking high pressure stacked up over Greenland and Alaska, which also forced the polar jet stream to slump well south into the U.S. That ridging well east and west of us is going to flatten out too. So all the ingredients are coming together to allow, you could say, seasonable weather, but actually in many locations in the lower 48, temperatures will be running somewhat above average most of the time, not harshly below average at all in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And in fact, across the southern United States, the strong El Nino will still bring some frequent bouts of precipitation. Now, that strong El Nino has also been an ingredient in what helped to make December so warm in the northern half of the lower 48. It's going to begin to weaken in February. So, with its weakening, that may allow more variability in the upper air pattern to return later in February. So, I'm not ready to hammer a nail into a winter coffin. We're getting a good lengthy break, but it is premature to try to predict that that's it for harsh winter weather this winter. It's only January, and we still have a ways to go. But if you're sick of what we went through last week, you're off the hook for having to go through it again, at least through the first week of February. Thanks for listening this far. Please share, please follow. This podcast is now available on virtually every major platform. If you don't want to use Spotify, just type in the name of the podcast, Don Paul's Bits O' Blather on Weather, Climate, and Some Humor into the search window for your favorite platform like YouTube. And well, I'm not going to list them all. It's there. Okay. Again, thanks for following.